Let's talk more about this. We're going to go to Jim Shallot, who is our, let's call him our legal analyst for this breaking news right now. He joins us on the phone. And Jim, let's start with your reaction. 1 year, 1 day. Are you surprised at all?
A little bit surprised, but I think the judge sent a message that her conduct had to include punishment of jail. You know, they violated the public trust. The judge gave the governor 2 years, and he gave Maureen 1 year and a day. So from his sentence, we can only conclude that the governor was seen by the judge as someone who needed a more severe punishment because he was in the position of a public official. The defense wanted probation and thousands of hours of community service, but the judge felt that the greed and the corruption warranted jail. I mean, it's a sad story for everybody, but she's the one that started the ball rolling, and the judge felt that she had to be punished more than probation.
Jim, how much of a factor is it that we have seen, at least through court testimony and certainly reflected in the judge's comments from the bench, that many people believe she orchestrated a lot of this and was responsible for at least the initiation of it and perhaps the choreography behind much of it? How much of that weighed into this decision today?
Oh, I'm sure a lot. I mean, I think it's almost uncontroverted that she got the ball rolling, but the governor could have stopped it. I mean, he's the governor. He was elected by the people of Virginia, and for him to take gifts and to let this conduct continue, he's got to. You know, the buck stops with him. He was the governor. She was the governor's wife. And whether she got it started or not, he could have ended it, and he didn't. That's why he got twice as much time in jail as his wife.
Jim, you were once a federal prosecutor. I know you now do defense in Montgomery County, but talk about how this ranks up there with other cases we've seen, because yes, we see plenty of public corruption cases where someone is convicted and sentenced, but to see a husband-wife duo in this manner, especially if we talk politics for just a moment, consider the fact that this is a man who was considered a potential for some of the upper echelons in government, including the White House.
Oh, absolutely. But notwithstanding, you know, the sentences in this case, in my experience, looking at public corruption cases throughout the country, these were lenient sentences. I mean, you look at Jack Johnson, the former Prince George's County executive, and Congressman Jefferson from Louisiana. I mean, and other congressmen around the country that have been convicted. 1 and 2 year sentences are, in my view, lenient compared to some of the 5 and 10 year sentences that other public officials have gotten around the country. I mean, the rationale for a severe sentence on a public official is to deter and punish public wrongdoers. And these sentences, in terms of comparison with other cases in history, they're not that severe. Now, whether or not they're reversed on appeal, that's a separate issue. But Judge Spencer didn't slam them as he could have. The prosecutors wanted much more time with the governor, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, you could argue that, as you've pointed out, despite the really severe tongue lashing that we saw from the bench here, the sentence doesn't necessarily scare off wrongdoers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, these are, I mean, look, they're not pleasant. I mean, nobody wants to go to jail for a day. But in the scheme of things, these are not very, very serious sentences. They're just not compared to, you know, Congressman Jefferson and some former governors. I mean, some of these people have gotten slammed with 5 and 10 year sentences.
Sure. Let's talk real briefly. Last thing I want to ask you about, Jim, is the appellate process, because we know that right now former Governor Bob McDonnell is out despite his 2 year sentence because he is appealing and he's allowed to remain free during this time. What do we believe may happen next in this process?
Well, we can assume that Maureen will be let out on bail as well, pending appeal. The best shot they have, both of them, is on appeal. You know, juries are influenced by emotion and drama, but the 3-judge panel that will hear these cases, they're going to look just at the law. And there's very novel issues here of whether or not what they did was public corruption. Did they do anything publicly, or take taxpayer money, or use official rewards to benefit Williams, or were these just personal favors to promote his business? In other words, did he use his governorship to do official acts to benefit Williams? And that's the question. And I think on appeal they have more than a 50-50 shot at getting these reversed. These are novel issues.
Yeah. All right. Great insight, especially the idea of a potential victory for them in the appellate process. We'll continue to talk with you more as we watch all of these events unfold. Thank you for your time today. And, of course, we'll have much more on the fantastic reporting out of Richmond by Jeff Goldberg and Suzanne Kennedy throughout the day here on News Channel 8. We'll be right back after this short break.